You're listening to the Birds on Powerlines podcast. And if you're new to our podcast, what we do is every second Tuesday of the month, we put out a podcast typically on fandoms or other stuff that we're doing. And in this podcast, we're talking about The Sandman, season 2. We have other podcasts on that. They are...
Two.
Yeah, we have 2 others, right? And that was before we started doing it on video. So if you're listening on an audio podcast, you'll find them there. If you're listening on YouTube, they are posted to YouTube, but you don't see us in those. You will see, what do they call it? Oh, yeah, painting.
Your painting.
My painting, but with an animated loop thing to look at, background, so that you can so it's more interesting on YouTube. But yeah, so if you're listening on audio, you're good, and thank you for listening. On YouTube, here we are, and you can go back and check those out. We're not done reviewing season 1.
Yeah, we got like halfway through.
We got halfway through. Yeah, 6 episodes, a little bit more than half, I guess, because there's 11. But we'll probably go back to doing that. But eventually. But right now we're watching season 2, so we figured we might as well do that, and then once things are on YouTube, you can just listen to them, or if they're on audio, you can listen to them on whatever order you want, or same thing on YouTube, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're glad you're with us, and so let's get into this. So this is our first podcast on season 2. There will be at least 3 more, at least, because we're
I mean, depending on how we
split it up, because basically
depending on how long this one takes.
How long? Yes, because right now we've only looked at the first 3 episodes of season 2. Apparently there's going to be 12. So season. We'll see how it goes. So for this podcast, you will only hear us talk about the first 3. If you're wanting the next 3, there will be another podcast on that. So because we're a little bit late.
We're probably going to split them up by story arc generally.
Yeah, and qualifier. For me, when it comes to The Sandman, I have only experienced the Netflix series. This one, on the other hand, has read them.
Yes.
So... So I feel at a little disadvantage because I really think that
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, well, because I don't know the context of everything, and I think so. Before we get into this, I think you were saying that there's like debates online. We try not to look at what's going on online before we do this, but
I'll talk about it.
You can talk about it, but like that stuff helps me. But we'll talk about it. So. Let's get going. So do you want to do the first? So we watch it together typically. So if you're new, we watch it together, and we try not to tell each other what we're thinking while we're watching it, and then we talk about it later. So now we're talking about it later on our podcast. So we go one episode at a time, and we think about what we think will happen. This one, of course, knows what's going to happen. I of course don't know what's going to happen. So some of my comments might seem naive because I don't know the story. I'm learning as I watch the episodes. So I guess it's interesting to see the different takes on this. But yeah. So do you want to lead in?
Doesn't matter.
So
whatever you want.
You do have notes.
I do have notes. I don't have notes.
No, I just thought you'd already know everything, so you don't need to take notes. So okay, so let's do that. You go first.
Okay.
And then I will sort of come in with my very naive comments.
Okay.
So the first episode is Season of Mists.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, sticking with like what I was saying from the previous season. The CGI is like completely on point. Like I know a lot of there's a lot of like some people are saying like, oh, the CGI was so good that they didn't have any budget left for like the makeup or the costuming and stuff. No, I don't think that's right, but the CGI is very good.
The makeup or the costuming?
Yeah, I don't know. The CGI,
oh my god, I think it's so good.
Some people didn't people didn't like the makeup on certain characters.
Oh, okay. All right,
but
I don't see any problem with it.
Well, I'll mention a little bit, but that CGI was definitely excellent, and like that opening scene with Morpheus like rebuilding the castle.
Oh yeah,
excellent.
Like that.
It looked. I mean, from what I can remember, it looked more impressive than the comics actually, like that, like because you're able to do things.
Yeah, because it's CGI.
But also you're able to do things in video that you can't do like just hand-drawn static images.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were very, very great, and of course like the score is also very good. For the music is very good. I actually haven't looked online. I haven't looked yet if it's definitely the same people doing it, but I don't know if they made.
But they don't do this thing like they do on Andor where they change the thing.
They don't.
Okay,
No, they don't. But I really like it. It works. It works very well, and yeah, I liked that, especially like the weird like Aurora-y thing in the crystal ball. I like that. That was nice. Okay. And so then the first thing, the family scene, like where the whole all of the endless -1 are meeting in Dusty's maze. Actually, like we see like an aerial.
That's a maze.
That's a maze. Yes.
Oh, okay.
We see an aerial of like his maze, and like it. From what I can tell, it looks very, very similar to the comics, if not exactly the same.
Yeah, I didn't notice that because I didn't know to look for it.
Yeah,
so
the aerial view, like
again,
the
naive.
pattern of the maze looks very similar.
Okay.
And even like the scene, the whole like thing itself is pretty much almost word for word from the comics.
What about the effects of how they enter?
Yes,
that's like that.
Everything except like they didn't directly show in the comics. They didn't directly show like Delirium's painting like melting. Yeah. They didn't show that
because that one actually was my favorite.
They didn't show that. And actually, so one thing that leads me into one thing that people are kind of a little bit criticizing. They're a little bit critical of the fact that Delirium in the comics, she's a much more like loose cannon. She's very random, very like even her appearance is like completely like it changes from panel to panel sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And this one in the show, she's a lot more consistent, and she's a little bit toned down a little bit. But like honestly, I don't really mind that because like it makes it more easy for someone who doesn't. I was just gonna say that relate to her.
If she as a character. If every time I saw her she looked different, I would
like
be
not like drastically different, but like her hair and in the comics, her hair, her clothes and stuff, they change very, very frequently.
Oh, okay.
And she's much more like delirious, I guess, a little bit, but I don't really mind that very much. I did not look up the names of the people who played the characters this season, but the actress who's playing her I think she did a fine job.
Is that all we'll see of her?
No, definitely not. No, okay. No, we see her a lot more. And actually, I did not notice in the like in certain times, in certain lights, like so. Eventually, there's like a one scene that will happen a little later on where.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Oh no, I'm not gonna really spoil it. But so Delirium's eyes, she has heterochromia, so she has one green eye, one blue eye. I actually did not notice it as much that was a thing that they put in. I thought they forgot that, but no, there's just certain lights you can't really see it quite as well. But I'm glad they remembered to put that in there.
I mean, for me, I think it's fun because I have no idea really what's going to happen, whereas you do.
Yeah,
so
I do. Yeah,
I think it's better not knowing what's going to happen.
Maybe a little. But yeah, so really only like Delirium and Despair have been like really altered, mostly as characters themselves. So Despair has a lot more to say. She's like pretty.
I like that character.
Yeah, she doesn't really say that much in the comics
because she's in despair.
Yeah, well, no, she's just naturally a bit more quiet.
Okay.
And she has more dialogue, but I don't really mind that. I think that's okay. And yeah, and also before. That's in this scene. This is before he goes to hell. Yeah. So in this scene, this episode's before he goes to hell. So before Morpheus goes to hell, he drops in on Leda Hall and her baby boy Daniel.
Yeah.
So in the comics, actually, Morpheus was the one who told like Leda, "Hey, this guy, his name is Daniel," and she's just like, "Okay, sure," kind of. But in this one, she's also in the comics. She's also very standoffish.
Okay.
Yeah, she's also very standoffish. But in the understandably so. But,
yeah, I didn't quite understand why she's like that.
So the reason this was because
I thought the last time we saw them.
Yeah. So recall from last season. So Leda and Hector Hall, they were both in the Dreaming, and Hector had died before Leda, and like she was trapped in the Dreaming as part of the vortex created by Rose.
Yeah.
So in the Dreaming, her and Hector, who is not actually alive, but he was alive in the Dreaming, they had a baby together, and the baby was born, but still in the Dreaming. So that's gonna set up like a big thing. So eventually, this is leading to a big thing at the end of the season where like Daniel becomes very important later.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're
not going to show something at the beginning and not
Daniel
have it.
becomes very important later.
I already have an inkling as to what's going to happen,
he
but
becomes very important later. But
I mean, it's not that opaque. I think I can figure it out.
Yeah, because of that. So Lyta was, of course, like understandably, she's like, this is like the last part that I have of Hector left, this baby. And so she's very like protective of Daniel, and she's like worried that Dream's gonna take him away, and etc. etc. Yeah, but yeah, so that was one a little bit of a difference, and also the whole scene with like Lucifer receiving the message from Abel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Abel. Wait. No, Cain. From Cain. Yeah.
I don't know which one is which at this point, unless they're both together and they're talking to each other.
So the receiving the message from Cain. So that was a few things were cut out of that scene. So like before, like in the comics, Lucifer gave like a big speech to like everyone in hell. He saw everyone, and there were like there's a lot of like the speech was a lot more like dramatic and stuff. But in this one, they kind of focus a little bit more on like Cain is like understandably a little bit scared. A little bit nervous.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What if he isn't let go?
Yeah, yeah. But honestly,
that would be kind of my thought.
That was like played up a little bit more, and honestly, but I do feel like that does fit quite well with the show's like whole vibe, because it's more centralized on the characters, I guess, more so like the characters that we know, and. Like, honestly, my favorite scene in that episode, and also, like, in the comics, was when Dream was going and visiting Hob, and we saw Hob again.
Yeah.
I liked that. And that
was good to see
also
him.
I
was under the impression we wouldn't get to see him again,
we see him again. We see him again several times. Okay. But play for play, that was, like, exactly the same. Actually,
I thought it was a nice touch with the bottle of wine
on
the night table.
That was nice. That was nice that we did that. And the toast that he gave, like, also word for word, and honestly...
It's like all very foreshadowing of things that I think are going to happen, but
very good job done. And and then so when I was watching this, as Morpheus was like entering, how he's I think this might have actually been for the first time. He's literally like narrating it like in first person, like I was doing this, I was doing that. And when I was watching it, I was like, wait, hold on, that's a little bit odd that he's doing that. But actually, I went back and read the comics again. He did the exact same thing. So like it felt a little bit out of place in the show, but that is actually like what he did.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was out of place.
I just thought it was odd because he hadn't like narrated anything before.
Oh, okay.
Like there isn't much. Like internal monologue.
I just felt that he was telling somebody. I don't know who he was telling.
There's not much internal monologue really at all in the show that I've noticed very much. There's not much internal monologue, and so that was one thing that I noticed. But again, that's pretty much directly from the comics, and yeah, pretty much that. And interestingly, so they cut down, and I think I understand why. Probably because like the special effects are obviously very expensive. So also within the comics, they show like more of how like basically Lucifer kind of takes him around hell, and like we see different parts, we see different people in there. But the overall message was that like I didn't make these people come here. These people chose to be here.
But that comes up in the next episode.
Yeah. Oh.
Right. The first episode is just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that comes up. So
okay. Yeah, never mind.
You're going way ahead. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about this. Okay, so let me talk about this stuff first, and then I'll get into that. Okay,
never mind. That's
no, don't never mind, because I'm going to get it because then I'll start talking about the second episode since you've already launched into it.
So what were you talking? Was there anything else you had to add about the first
episode? Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know.
It's just like, wait a minute. I thought that was the second episode. Well, because it is one arc, right?
Yeah.
So those, especially those two, because you're kind of left with.
You're left with him
getting there.
I couldn't remember the fact.
And then what ends up happening I was in here like at the in the first episode, she's like talking to everybody, or he.
Yeah, Dream.
Lucifer. No, Lucifer, Morningstar. He is talking to everyone about how they are going to get their revenge on Dream. Okay. So when he arrives there, meaning Dream, you're expecting that there's going to be this big thing. So I mean, so there was that tension, and then of course they cut because that comes up in the second episode. So so there was that, and now that we've gotten into this, I'll talk about that in a sec. So and then in terms of like the beginning of this, I agree. I really liked seeing Dream put the dreaming back together. It was a good thing that because
this isn't really like explicitly shown from what I can remember in the comics, but I do think it's good that he like kind of rebuilt the castle and like made it different.
Yeah.
Because it's
different now. It doesn't look the same. He's changed. He is
the dreaming.
And I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. And then this whole thing about him preparing everything as if he's not going to come back. Again, I think that's foreshadowing that he's not coming back at some point.
He does the same thing again.
Right. So he's
does the
preparing.
Same thing again.
And I'm going to come back to that because that's why I wanted to mention it now. Because he has changed.
Yes.
And then there's this whole thing that's going on with Lucifer. So but my sense of the first episode is that it was really dark.
Sure.
Especially like even thinking about what Despair's distraction is when she's being called to the family meeting. I mean, that's downright disturbing.
Yeah. But also that's exactly pulse.
Yeah, but like as someone who doesn't know, I was like, wow, that's dark.
That was
right. I mean, there could have been all kinds of things that would cause despair, that could cause someone to be distracted. But that particular theme is pretty dramatic, and I'm wondering why that choice
Honestly,
was made.
I have no clue.
I don't know. No clue. So that's just weird. But so there is that, because there's a choice made there to make, because that's
and then
particularly dark.
Then think about this. Like this the original source material was published in like what, the 80s.
Yeah, that's really dark.
90s. Like
that's dark. That's dark.
Yeah, 80s.
So caught by his wife.
Yeah.
Doing what he was doing. So then all of them are really preoccupied with what they're doing.
Yeah. It's not a good time for anyone else.
They're all very preoccupied, right? So, Despair is super preoccupied. Of course, Desire is always preoccupied with himself.
That was really original.
That's very, but I mean, Desire, right? But he, I guess Desire, or is it they? They, because I don't know how we refer to these entities, really knows how to push Dream's buttons. And I really think that in terms of all of them, I really feel that Dream is the one who's most, he's preoccupied, but not self-preoccupied. Do you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like, he's busy doing putting his place back together. So I mean, understandably, this is like disturbing him because he's kind of got to put that back together.
At this point, he's not self-preoccupied, but then a little bit later on, he will. He will be.
They're all like that. So there's that. There's a hint of that already in the third episode. So here, however, the change in Dream from season 2 makes him, acknowledge the accusations that are being leveraged against him. So, I mean, even though Desire, but they all agree with Desire. Even Death. But I think that Death delivers it in a way
much kinder way.
Well, not kinder, but in a way that doesn't put him defensive, right?
He's more open to
receiving it's not an accusation. Yeah. It's more like, think about what you did, right? Because, and I think now that, based upon everything that happened in season 1, he's able to listen and acknowledge that, I was being a jerk, right? I mean, that was dumb and that was cruel. So it was really about him, not about what Nada had done, really. So I think, I wrote down Delirium's entrance best of all. Okay, Lida Hall? Lida. I had to review that to recall what happened because I'm not familiar with the comics. Because not all that happened very quickly in season 1. Like, I think it was sort of, so I had to remember that that's what happened. And I think, to be honest, some of that probably flew over my head because I wasn't really clear about what was going on. Hobb, excellent. Anything with that character is excellent. I think that the actor is great too. And I can't remember all the names of the actors, which is my bad, which is ridiculous. I can't remember these things, but he's excellent. I love to have the bottle on the night table. Just no, it wasn't really a dream. I mean, it was a dream, but not really. And then, Lucifer. So I was really expecting something epic happening because Lucifer had all of this time to prepare. So it wasn't even being caught by surprise, right? So I was thinking, You know, and then Dream preparing for not being able to come back. I didn't really understand the role of the Grey Sisters. I don't, like, I'm not quite, so you can probably, so like, why predicting anything when, you know, everything is in that book anyways? Or does it appear in the book as things are happening? This is the thing I don't understand. I'm not really getting that.
From what I understand, so Destiny doesn't, like, know per se. Like,
he just looks in the book and he's like, oh, it's here.
Things happen as he reads them.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, almost.
So that's why it's a little confusing for someone who doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, so, like, really, like, the Fates, the Grey Sisters, the Kindly Ones, whatever you will call them, they are kind of, like, they kind of almost have the ultimate control over things a little bit.
Yeah, like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
In a way.
So, yeah, so, like, because they're the ones that, like, so, like, the whole thing, like, with them, and including in, like, mythology and stuff, if they cut your thread from whatever they're weaving, you die. It might not happen right away, but you're gonna die. So that's gonna be, like, a big thing later on.
Okay.
But, so basically, like, Destiny kind of doesn't really have a say in anything.
He's just like trying to prepare everybody for.
Yeah, he's just
like, what is exactly his power here?
So basically, his whole thing is that, like, everything that happens is because it's going to happen. So
yeah, but what is his role then? Like, what is his power then?
The book says everyone comes to his garden. Everyone will come to his garden. So
he sort of works for them.
No. He's separate. He doesn't
like that's all, like, he doesn't really, what's his superpower, you know?
Happen. He doesn't, I mean,
not his superpower, but
his book is the thing that has everything that will happen.
Well, but he, you know how they all are looking after something, you know, like, how is he? Like,
he's looking after what is going to happen. What is going to happen?
Making sure that it's happening.
No, it just because he exists.
I'm overthinking
what will happen is going to happen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Kind
all
of,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's discussed a little later on. I don't remember, like, what it is, but, like, there's a whole discussion. Like, every one of the endless, they define, like, basically their opposite. So, like, so dream defines reality.
Okay.
Or death defines life.
Okay.
So, like, they kind of define, like, their opposite.
Oh, maybe that's kind of like what going off of, like, what's happening with heaven and hell, and, like,
sure,
that hell is sort of the mirror image, and you can't
have
like, you can't really have a heaven if you don't have a hell.
Each of the endless defines their opposite. Because they exist, their opposite also exists.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay, I get it.
Kind of.
Okay, so then let me go into episode 2 then, which is The Ruler of Hell.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
So I said here, considerable change from episode 1 where Lucifer looked ready to destroy Dream.
Yep.
And so it's like,
I mean, kind of.
Well, no, but I mean, Dream is up to it.
Not physically destroy, but, like, hoping, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess, you know, but Dream was up to the challenge, right?
Yeah.
So, but instead asked in a way to help him leave and cutting off his wings, like,
yeah, sure.
You know, and I'm like, and I mean, that's a reference to things I don't like. What does it matter whether the wings are there or not? I don't know the significance of cutting off the wings.
Okay. I was reading it as more of like the whole, like, wings and stuff is, like, what's kind of making, like, that's like a big, like, thing of, like, oh, like, the devil has wings, has horns, it's like scary and whatever, but, like,
or maybe because they were angel, he was an angel at one point, but
I feel like removing the wings kind of makes him more, like, human.
Like, I was expecting him to do something to prevent Dream from, like, haha, I caught you, like, you know, but no, that didn't happen. No, just literally
but
just cut them off.
That would be too cliche.
But I was just like, how is it that, and I think that the way it was played is that he wasn't 100% certain that wasn't going to happen. Like, here, you've got me here doing this, and then you're going to do something to me. Yeah, like, and I think that was well played, the way that was done. So I said, you know, remove his wings. What? Like, you know, like.
I think it's almost like removing the obligation, removing the responsibility.
I guess, and it's kind of interesting. It's like you know, he's been doing this for so long. He wants to make a change, and it's like, why shouldn't I make a change? I can make a change.
Sure. Yeah.
I can make a change. I mean, like, right? I've got all these powers. I can make a change. Like, it just kind of, and I'm going to come back to that because I think that's an interesting thing that's happening here, right? But I really like that part about, oh, well, the devil made me do it, and I didn't make anybody do anything. They all did it on their own, and they just ended up here because of it. And it's just like, just blaming me for all the, pretty much the stupid things that they've been doing to each other. And how is it my fault? I mean, they all have, I guess, free will, right? So I guess that's sort of what the devil was getting to. So I so anyways, I think that was funny. And then and I thought the acting was amazing, right? Between the two of them, there's nothing that an actor likes more than to just work with another actor and do their thing. So I'm curious about how much of that was also improvised off of each other in terms of, because they played well. No, I know the line, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the acting, right? The reacting is what I'm talking about. And they did so well.
One thing like that was actually like a gripe that I saw with that scene. People did not like the fact that some people did not like the fact that they just like spent a lot of time just like literally just panning between the two. But I liked it. It was good focus. It wasn't just like, oh, you're focusing on the character as
because that's how you can see, and that's how you can see how masterful they are. Because the thing is, when you do a take like that, you do it several times opposite each other. So each time they're reacting. I mean, unless they bring in somebody to stand in for the other.
Slowly, but that's because
there's a big deal about what's going on there.
It'd be weird if they didn't do that in this show.
Right? Yeah. I mean, because you're like, these are people who are supposedly sort of enemies of each other, and they're like,
or at least they don't have any love lost for each other.
No, and I mean, it and in a way, you could think of hell as almost being opposite to dream, even though you can dream nightmares, right? Because that goes back to season one, like season one, because even the demons dream of, right? Right. So I mean, and that's otherwise you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have anything, right? So So I mean, okay, and then the delegations arriving at the dreaming. So that of course is the next part. So you could predictably get all the fights coming out of that. And you know that there's going to be threats and there's going to be pleading. And so it all went in. It went all in. Some of them horrific. Yes, the red balloon thing. That to me is like...
I did not see that.
That is a thing going to Stephen King. That whole Pennywise thing is going on there.
What's more chaotic than a clown?
Yeah.
You never know what they're going to do next.
So it's, and even though I haven't read that particular Stephen King yet, I'm doing Dark Tower. So if you're past podcasts and mention that, but I know Pennywise. That is a thing. So and then on the other side having Fairy there, so like I feel like there was nothing missed here. Like
there was actually one.
Oh, maybe from the comics
that was left out.
I just meant in terms of they were being very inclusive in terms of legends and mythologies. I thought that's what I meant, because I wouldn't know if there was something actually missing from the comic book. That I wouldn't know. And then of course the angels come down. I didn't just think, of course they would come down to see what's going on with this.
They're not making a plea. That's interesting.
No, they don't. But they don't have to, right?
We're here,
so
we're watching.
I mean, like we're just gonna check this out. We're gonna just see what's going on here. I think that they did excellent. The effects were great. I thought, especially when what's her name?
Nula?
No, the what is it? Chaos. When Chaos all of a sudden goes from a little girl to that was well done.
Shivering Jemmy.
Was that what it is? Yeah. I don't know. That's funny. So I didn't expect that. So as someone who doesn't know the story, or it's just like, oh, okay,
I actually said out loud, I do not like that. I do not like that. It was much more palatable.
But the thing is that what really held it together was the sideshow with Cain and Abel. Like, I just thought that was so well done. Yeah, that was funny. And I mean, there's got all this going on, and then that was the thing that kept going. So and that gave you this sense of time, right? Because this is all going on while they're putting on their show. So you kind of need that anchor to bring that together. So I thought that was well done. And then it was interesting to hear both the boasting and the pleading, right?
Yeah, sure.
So Oh yes, and then this whole thing with Nada. I kind of expected that one of them was going to use Nada as a thing, and why not?
And
why not the demons? Who else would have them?
Who else would have her but the demons,
so then at the end, you're like, okay, you know that Dream has the power to do it, right? But I couldn't think of how he was going to execute saving her, and doing what because I 100% didn't think he was going to give hell to them 100%. And I had a feeling he was going to give it to the what was the no, I thought he was going to give it to Lord Susano from Japan, because he seemed to want to help them, and that seemed to be like on brand with the way Dream is right now. Make it have a meaning. So I was kind of thinking that that's how that was going to go. So that's what I was thinking at the end of that. I was really disturbed with that effect with Azazel. Azazel? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, that was creepy. How he kind of expands out and the multiple mouths. And
that was one thing I saw. People very much did like that.
That was disturbing, and that you can do it without
and they did that
tech.
A lot better. Because
is that what it looks like in the comic book too?
It's pretty close. It looks pretty good. Yeah.
So that was that. So that was me for episode 2. Okay. So you go on with episode 3, and then we'll. Yeah. So then I'll go on. Yeah.
I'll go back into what I was saying.
Yeah. You have. Yeah. Because you were halfway through.
I was halfway through. Yeah.
So continue with episode 2, and then you started.
Yeah. So in the original in the source material, as I was saying, there's like we see a lot more of hell, and
a lot of it looks like empty space. I mean, there's like the part where Lucifer has the key to, but then there's the rest of it.
So that is one thing. That is one thing that people were like a little bit critical of, because like it does just look quite empty.
Yeah.
And like I understand that why they did that in the show, because like they wanted to show that like there was no one there, like because we saw like thousands and thousands of demons in the last episode all gathered there, and now it's like, oh, where did everyone go? But then at the same time, like they don't really use that space a little bit, so I understand.
No, but I liked, in a way, it gave a sense of,
you kind of when
Lucifer leaves, I mean, it gives him a place to go, right? Like otherwise, if all of it was his, then where is he going then? Right? Like that. So that is like, for me, I needed that. I mean, I don't know how they did it in the comic book, but it made sense to me. It's just like, oh, okay, I can leave this palace now, and I can just go and do whatever I want. Yeah. And
just walk away. But then the second episode was actually quite close. Again, like this is the whole thing. Like I've noticed like a little bit of like dialogue about how they do change things. They do change a few things.
Well, it's a separate piece of art,
a lot of the things are very close. Like they're very nearly scene for scene, line for line. Like it's very close, and especially the second episode, really the main thing. And I was a little bit confused as to why they did this, but like there was a pretty significant side character. Bast is like the goddess of cats, and that was like a focus on like the bonus episode in the last season. It was like a whole thing with like cats.
Actually, that's the one episode I didn't see yet. I have to still see that.
You didn't see that. Yeah. But and then so that episode is half and half with, I think it's half and half with it's either half and half or there's two separate ones. But there's one with like a whole bunch of things with the cats, and there's one where later on we'll see Orpheus, who is Morpheus' son, who with Calliope, and so there was Calliope is Orpheus's mother and was Dream's wife, but she died. Well, no, she didn't die. No, she didn't die. She didn't die.
I'll have to
she didn't die.
That
she
later.
Got captured. But anyway,
I'll have to absorb that later.
That was in the bonus episode. But anyway, but they did remove Bast, and I don't think she's in there at all this season. But so instead of when like Thor was making advances towards the mother of spiders, it was actually Bast in the comics, and Bast like later on goes on to become like a pretty major like side character. She gives Dream advice. She tells him like where to do things, what to do. Okay. She's completely removed from this season. We don't see her at all, I don't think, at all. And so she's not there. So the whole Egyptian god delegation is not there.
Oh, so yeah, that is missing.
Missing. That is the thing that was missing from that. And I'm not really sure why they did that. Maybe just because they didn't. And I was actually thinking maybe it was because like there was a movie a few years ago, Cats, that people really did not like the CGI for that. They did not like the animal heads, the cat CGI thing. They did not like that. Okay. Maybe they just didn't even want to touch that. Maybe that might have.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I'm reading too much into
something
it.
I don't know. Maybe read up on that.
Maybe,
I'm sure there's something online about
maybe the CGI might have been too hard or something with that.
I don't think the CGI would be too hard.
Or like they
I don't think so.
Like, maybe we don't need to introduce a superfluous character.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so there was that, and also, but interestingly, Nuala, she's getting a lot more of a bigger role.
I think that I didn't even mention what I had
like
written.
her. I like her.
I think that
in the comics, she doesn't really play
she's
like
a
huge...
good match for Dream.
Yeah, she doesn't. She's not like a huge psychic. Like she's there, she does things, but she's not like as much of a major role as I think that they're setting her up to be in the show.
Yeah,
and like she's definitely like the whole scene between. I think that wasn't this episode. That was the next episode. But like the scene like in the next episode with her and Dream talking, like that did not happen, and she's much more of a, from what I can tell, she's going to be much more of a major character, in this scene. And honestly, I'll
talk about it because
I like what they did with her.
Because that's coming up. So
because like I think it probably will follow the main plot points as to what she does, but like her influence is a lot larger, and that's good. I don't mind that. And
then by the way, the second episode is called. Did I say that? The Ruler of Hell? Did I say that? Because usually I'm the one that says the name of the episode.
Yeah, I don't know if you said that, but yeah, and then again, like excellent CGI stuff, especially the stuff with Azazel. That was like very, very interesting.
Yeah, with
we see more of that next
Nada
episode.
in there.
Yeah,
trying to get out.
Honestly, I was noticing with this episode and the next episode, but like I guess really just in general, I don't understand how. Maybe you understand how they do this, but like the lighting, they make everything looks like really dark, but they have highlights in just the right places that like, you can see everything. I don't know how they do that. That's like a filter, or what is that? What do they do with that?
It's just good lighting. They know how to do it.
It was very impressive, and also the dining hall itself, I thought was quite impressive.
Yep, whoever did the lighting.
The weird thing was,
you did a good job.
I didn't really like the scene, the set for like the main foyer. I didn't really like the girls on the windows. I don't
remember the girls on the windows.
I didn't really like the pattern. They just seemed a little bit odd. They just seemed slightly out of place. Like not.
When do they show those?
I think it's a little bit more like a few scenes in the next episode, but like mainly like when he's like welcoming people in.
Because like maybe they change depending on who's coming in.
No, they don't change depending. Okay. They're always constant. I just didn't really like the pattern on the grills.
Yeah, there's
on the
probably
windows.
a reason for it.
I don't really know why. I just felt it was.
I didn't even notice it.
But like it was.
But the lighting, yes, very good.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the outside looks really good. A lot of like the hallways and the stuff and library and the dining hall and stuff that we see.
I like the chef.
I
like the chef.
Yes, she's a completely new character.
Yeah, I know you were saying that, but I like that character.
I like her, but like I feel like
she
like
definitely adds a bit of spice.
Certain
yes, I know
things,
I did that.
certain things I feel like certain aspects of the castle they seem like more visually tied together, but then I just feel like the foyer like really it's just kind of the windows for me, and I guess the lighting in there, it just seems like a little bit slightly out of place. Like I like the stonework, the brick, the columns, the stairs, sure, okay, but I feel like maybe it should be like a little bit more grand. I don't know, but
but to your point, there's no
really basis for that. It's just really
I think there is, because the thing is, he's different now.
Sure,
and originally,
but then he still keeps like all the like terraces and the huge like skyscraping towers. And
because you want to look out over the dreaming,
his big,
right?
Tall throne, crazy steps going up to his throne. He still keeps that.
Yeah, well, he's not a completely different person. Yet.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
So you get into episode 3. It's
okay. I didn't write the title down. I forgot.
The title. Okay, this is from Shakespeare. More devils than the vast hell can hold.
Oh, is it? Okay. Mm-hmm. That's why I couldn't remember what that was. That was really, really long. Okay. Yeah. So I already mentioned.
For me,
that.
I think this is my favorite.
Yeah, I already mentioned like the whole like people didn't like the telling more than showing thing, but like so the scene with Nuala and Dream like recounting, so then this is a side thing from the arc, like the Dream Country Dream Country arc.
Yeah, but again, they need to show that. Otherwise, someone like me
a
would
little
be
bit
like,
out of order.
what the?
Yeah,
why do we need to do the Shakespeare thing? You know?
I'm glad that they brought that in. I'm actually glad they brought that in because it does. This is like a thing, like if you didn't read the comics, because this thing.
No, and I think it's important because I'm seeing a setup here. We've got Puck.
Yes.
And we've got Loki.
Yeah.
And that's always a bad combination.
Yeah. Yes. It's gonna be a bad combination.
Well, that's what I mean. You have to show that, right?
Yeah, sure.
You have to show. Otherwise, how did Puck get there, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad combination. Yeah, it's gonna be a very bad combination.
Like, I don't know what it's gonna happen, but I can guess it's not gonna go well. But I mean, I think they would have had to show that.
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining about that at all. I'm actually I was hoping that they would bring that little arc in, and they did, and I think it was well put in there, but they did have to.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, they did have to make a new scene to kind of introduce that, but it makes sense as to like because there's gonna be, especially if Nuala is going to be a bigger character overall, it's gonna make sense like to draw connections between like the Dreaming and Fairy, and this we want to build that up, so that makes sense. I don't really have a problem with that. I liked it.
I like the idea of having the play in there and bringing back, because I'm going to talk about this, but I might as well do it now because we're talking about it, and bringing back Shakespeare from the first season, because there was that whole thing about, you want to blah 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 blah, and then you took off with and then this comes back. So it's almost like he was already planning a way to mend something already in season 1, but someone like me would know that. But then it's nice to, I was like, well, that's why he did that. So, I mean, it made the whole, like, arc of the whole, both seasons come together.
Yeah.
Just like bringing Hob back.
Sure. Yes.
Hob.
I wish we had more of him.
Yeah.
Honestly, but.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So and you're watching the play while you're watching the show. Like it's kind of like a cool kind of like thing, and that whole thing where they come out of the hill and that's very cool.
Yeah, actually that was very. I don't remember. I don't think that. I don't remember if that
even if it was. It's a nice
but
effect.
That was nice
for film. It's a nice effect.
That was good. I don't recall if that was in there.
Yeah, that was.
But neat. But honestly, my favorite scene, and I think a thing that probably a lot of people very much liked, was when Dream like literally went into Azazel to rescue Nada. That was very cool, very good effect.
I didn't understand it though. Like, how did he do that?
Yeah, so basically,
do they explain that, or do we just? Is this one of those things you just suspend your disbelief?
He literally just like, because Azazel is basically what he is just a huge bunch of gaping mouths. Yeah. So he just goes in. He just dives in. In the comics, like he literally like is like, we literally just see him just go in.
Yeah.
So,
but how does he get out again?
Yeah, but no. So the way he gets out again. So
because now he's like
this is kind of a little bit of a blink and you miss it type thing. So after he rescues Nada, he gets Nada back out. Nada gets out, and then we see Azazel is like, okay, well now I'm gonna eat you and stuff. But while we're in there, like as Dream is getting consumed by Azazel, this is like a very like split second thing. I don't know if you were able to see it, but in the back. We see like almost out of stars, we see like the outline of Dream, almost made out of, and his eyes are like the stars and stuff.
Oh yeah, I have to go and look at that because I didn't notice.
Okay, that looked really good, but that was kind of an indicator like Azazel made a mistake because he tried to harm Dream in his place of power. So basically, Dream just changed reality pretty much. He just he pretty much used his power to like.
So I mean, in a way, it was like a dream.
So kind of like in the way that he defeated John Dee in the last season. Like Dee was like, "Oh, haha, I destroyed you by destroying your ruby," but then it turns out that he's literally just standing in Morpheus's hand. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. He just kind of played with reality a little bit, and especially because he was in his place of power, you can't really kill him in his place of power. So he's kind of like making us think he did it, but he didn't really. Yeah, okay. That's going to be a big thing later on. So yeah, that I really like that. Really good scene. And
well, thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah, so that's kind of what that was.
What just happened?
That was like really stunning. Like,
and I'm always overthinking it. So.
I would definitely like if we weren't watching it on like a TV, I would like pause it and make that like a wallpaper or something. That was
you
I
probably
really
can if you because we can do Netflix on the computer.
You probably can, but I really like that one single frame. That I really liked that. And yeah, and as I mentioned again, I already mentioned the window grills. I already mentioned the lighting. I really like the new character, Taramis, the chef. I liked her.
Oh yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
We both liked her. I
didn't know it was a new character.
New character.
I thought that
they
definitely add stuff.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, could it go on without the character there?
Sure,
I guess, but
they
definitely are serving a purpose.
Yeah. And
Lucienne can't do everything.
Yeah. But and then in the comics, like, so the scene with like Nada and Dream after like having the dinner type thing, she's a lot like their interactions a lot. Like it is very similar, and they both do like, again, follows the main plot points. But I got the sense, like, in the show, it was like she was a lot more like, not harsh, but not like, that's not.
Oh,
really
I thought she could
word.
Go further.
Yeah, that's not really quite the right word, but it was a lot more like it was more intense. It was a lot more intense in the show, and. Yeah, definitely there was, I felt it was more suspenseful, even like knowing already what was going to happen. I felt it was a bit more suspenseful. And I do feel like in the show, I really got the feeling that Morpheus was like a lot more like he's still like hurting and like really kind of like he's kind of petulant and more petulant a little bit in the show. He's like,
what did he think was going to happen?
Yeah, I feel like he's still like kind of almost regressing a little bit to where he was in the previous season.
I was just like, hey,
a little bit more unwilling to admit that he was wrong. Like he knows he was wrong. He is admitting he's wrong, but I feel like he doesn't fully believe it. Whereas in the comics, like, literally the last thing that we really see them say to each other is, so Morpheus is like, okay, well then let's discuss your future. Let's discuss what you want to do, Nada. Yeah. And he's like a little bit less like standoffish, I guess. And they kind of part on a little bit more of like a less tense note, I guess. But with this one, I don't think that was a bad thing. I like, definitely, like, rightfully so, she is like definitely like, no, I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to be here.
Well, of course
I want to go.
Not.
Of
I
course.
mean, God,
yeah. Of course, yeah.
I don't
but
know.
I do feel like he's still like.
You could almost think that she wouldn't even want to be in his palace. I'd be like,
sure, yeah.
I'd be out of the palace. I mean, obviously she needed to recover from whatever happened to her, but
and I think
wouldn't want to be there.
The reason it kind of ended a little bit more, like, almost like an open wound type. Like it was
because it is an open wound.
Yes,
yeah, I thought
but it was. I think it was played up a bit more because of the next arc that's gonna happen, more than likely, and that's
which I don't know anything about.
That's
but
probably gonna be more preoccupying.
You don't suffer for 10,000 years.
Yeah, no, of course,
and then just say, oh yeah, okay, let's call it even. Like what? Mm-hmm. Like no, no. I would think there'd be 10,000 years of look.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because it's not like.
Sure, it's not like a forgive and forget type thing.
She was suffering.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it wasn't like he just didn't speak to her. She was suffering.
And that whole thing where like,
and she didn't even belong there.
Where Dream was saying like, "Oh, I'm sure you must be hungry," and she's like, "No, not really. You get used to it after a while." That was. Yeah. Yeah.
So there was. So do you have more to say?
No, not really. My last thing was like, so I actually remarked on this when we were watching. There was a scene like right at the end of the episode where like we see Dream just like standing in the doorway, like just watching her go out, and then it zooms back over Lucienne's shoulder, and like we see that like zoom back from that and see through the hallways and like through the arches and stuff, and we still see him, but it's like far away. I just like that.
You like the aerial.
I like the aerial type.
The sense of
thing. I like that. That was a good shot.
Not
I like
that it's aerial, but yeah.
Anyway, that was it for me.
Okay, all right. So let me see if I still have anything to say. I said, I think this is my favorite episode so far.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I know it felt in a way long because there was so much going on, but it didn't feel long. I mean, there was a lot that happened.
Oh, it was actually like numerically, it was.
Was it longer?
Longer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot that happened. Nuala, good match for Dream in a way.
Oh, I like the glamour thing. That was good. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you saw my thing.
It wasn't as much of a dramatic change as it is in the comics.
So I don't really. That's what I was saying. Like, what is the glam? Like, I mean, it's just something to make her look different than she actually looked.
This is gonna be explained a little bit later on. But basically, so Queen Titania is the fairy queen.
Yeah, I know who she is.
So she's and it's a thing like that. Like Nuala doesn't really want to stay in fairy because like basically everyone's obsessed with like looks. Pretty much, it's very
like her
very
brother.
superficial.
Yeah,
very superficial, and she doesn't really like that. And especially so, Queen Titania is like really disapproving of like she Nula says like she doesn't like her accent, she doesn't like her just natural look, and like it's a really big change in the comics.
I think that,
but she's still like really like of course I mean
well I think
actress,
that's
she still looks great without the glamour.
That's why I think that she's a good match for Dream, because she doesn't have this desire to make stuff up, like you know what I mean, like so yeah. And I thought like I really like that scene with them. I understand you're saying that that's not in the comics, but I think she's a really good match for Dream, and I think
especially if she's gonna be more of a major character,
like you were saying. So I think, you know, and I don't know why you feel like she's gonna be more of a major character. Is it because they had that whole interaction?
Because she's being given a lot more dialogue and a lot more like comic equivalent screen time. Like we see a lot more of her, and she's playing a much more active role. Like really in the comics, like she doesn't really say very much. She's like introduced like when Clerican comes in, and she's like, here's the Lady Nula, and that's basically about it.
Yeah,
and then like the scene with her like banging on the wall, being like, Clerican, shut up. That is also in there.
Yeah. So that's in the comics.
Kind of, so actually in the comics, Clerican literally comes into her room with another
with the other person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, nothing's like explicitly shown, but like she's also like very annoyed. And then it immediately transitions to it doesn't go for her. She's going for a walk and she runs to Dream. That doesn't happen. It just immediately goes to Dream's gonna make the decision, make the announcement, and all that stuff.
Okay, so I think, but I think it really, I think it really adds a lot in terms of, her whole interaction with him, given what happens at the end, of a character because that she ends up staying there, which again says a lot about Fairy, because they didn't even tell her that was going to happen. So I mean,
so same thing.
But and I didn't quite understand the idea of the glamour, but I'm guessing because she didn't change that much afterwards.
So in the comics, so she does. There is a very drastic change in the comics, like between like her with the glamour on and her with the glamour off. She looks a lot different. I mean, I understand, of course, it's a lot easier for her to just be played by the same actress, so you can't really do that much. Yeah. And that was probably another thing that was like, people were like, oh, they didn't have anything left for the makeup, but like honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can tell like her hair is different, her accent's different.
Like after she removed that, which I'm guessing is like some sort of magic thing.
Yeah, magic thing.
Just she looks natural. Like you know what I mean? Like before she looked made up, and now she is the way she likes to present herself. Yeah. So the hair is free, and you know. So and I think that is, I think that's better. Yeah, like I think, like I said, so there's this contrast between her and then what obviously goes on with Nada. So, and then with Nada, of course, that whole, like I thought that there would be more. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Actually, again, as I said, it's like a lot more intense. Honestly, I felt like it was a lot more intense.
So yeah, you're saying that it was more intense, but I think that after suffering for 10,000 years,
I got from it.
After suffering for 10,000 years, and I loved, like, I don't know if this happens in the comics, but her slapping Dream.
Yes, it does happen.
Then he was restraining himself from reacting. It's like he's like, "What are you gonna do to me? You've already done what? Like, how much worse could it possibly be?" And he deserved it. I mean, I think I was waiting for her to slap him again when he says, I was just like, do it again. Or if he was really, sorry, he should have offered his other cheek. Okay, do it to me again. Do you know what I'm saying? Sure. Because that's what he deserved, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and I think that in those few moments, he acknowledges the fact that that's all that he, so he all slipped back to his, like, I'm the dreaming, and therefore I am the dreaming,
a bit,
there was an element of that, but then he restrained himself because he, like,
and actually thinking about that, really, I mean,
it's such an interesting contrast between the two.
That's partially I don't think like the other, like maybe it's partially because he's the main character, so like we see the most of him, but like the other endless don't really have like titles per se. They're just them. Like,
well, death.
Yeah. Well, they're just them, but they don't really have like grand titles. But then like Morpheus is like, oh, like the Dream Lord, Lord Shaper, King of Dreams.
Blah, blah. Because we don't know, right? We don't know.
He has all these names.
I'm pretty sure there's many for death.
Probably,
right? You know,
but like
the other ones, you know, I don't know, but
probably, but like it just is interesting that like he's the one that has all these like titles.
Well, because other people
like,
give him those titles, right?
Sure, but
so
like,
I think that it's just interesting.
Yeah,
I you know,
but I feel like of course like if you're anyone, like having like all these like grandiose titles maybe would go to your head a bit.
Well, no, but the thing is, bit. You know, at the end, you know, he's like telling her that he's changed, but has he? I mean, he has.
Like he has, but also he.
But that doesn't undo the damage that you've done. Like I mean, it's like talking to a toddler. I mean, this is someone who's lived basically forever, and you're like trying to educate them on like the basic.
Well, I mean,
basic
really,
decency.
I think that's probably like the whole overarching thing of these last few arcs is really just like change.
Yeah, I was actually going to get to that. That was actually what I was going to end on, right?
Okay.
Like, so I think, so let me get there, and then we'll have a conversation about that, and then we can finish this podcast. But I think you know, with that juxtaposition between Nuala
how he treats Nuala and how he treats
not
well, how no, he reacts
just
Nuala
because Nuala hasn't had that history.
Sure, yeah.
And you know, so it's just he's very, but he's still like, I mean, he's still the same with both of them. You know what I mean? So it really is what happened to her. Yeah. And like I said, her going out, like, you know, he like out now he's trying to be protected of her, like, oh, but the world isn't the way you remember it. It's like how much, like, and then her saying that I've been with humanity for the last like 10,000 years. So like I've literally been with them. So I think she has good insight. Like I think you know, she might not know how to use a cellular phone.
Sure.
But she'll figure it out. You know, like, do you know what I mean? Like to be able to not lose yourself completely after 10,000 years in hell shows that this woman has a very strong character, right? Because it's not like she was there because she herself did something. You're right. I mean, you know, and ultimately, if you know, and considering that Dream or Morpheus is always, you know, such a rule stickler, the whole reason that whole thing happened is because
he broke the rules.
He broke the rules.
Broke the rules,
right? I mean, and I don't know.
Doesn't really want to admit it.
Doesn't want to admit it. And I mean, and I feel like that didn't actually come out enough.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one that broke the rules, and really, ultimately, what happened to her kingdom was really his fault, right? Not hers, and yet she chose to suffer for it. But that didn't mean that she needed to suffer for 10,000 years this absolute cruelty.
And actually, it does kind of make it makes it a little bit worse, actually, because from what I remember in the comics, like, it actually, like, he had to try a lot harder to, like, even, like, do anything with her, like, 'cause she was just like, no, definitely not. And then eventually, like, the one time that she was like, okay, you know, sure.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean
from what I remember,
So even more so, then
I think
it really was his fault.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and I mean, too bad that Destiny couldn't step in there.
No,
you know,
that's
and
the point.
warn
Destiny
him.
can't do anything.
It's like,
I think that's going to become something like a thing later on. Like, Destiny can't really do anything. Like that's
what I mean.
Or he's almost like both can't and
it's like, what kind of powers that guy have?
Yeah, a bit.
So that was that. Okay, so let me just see what else did I say. We already went over the whole thing about what happened to Azazel. I didn't quite get that at the beginning.
I got it.
We'll return from, what did I say here? I believe that they feel that they are forgotten. Oh, I guess that, fairy. So I didn't quite, they should have explained that a little bit better for me. I mean, I kind of put it together that they resent the dreaming in a way because they feel forgotten or something like that. But now he's made sure that they won't be forgotten because of Will Shakespeare.
No, I think...
I mean, they had an argument, right?
Yeah.
But I guess
from what I was getting, I actually think, like, and then based off of, like, a little bit of the subtext that I was reading between Morpheus and Titania, I feel like she liked Morpheus.
Oh, okay, so there's a little bit of an edge of that.
I feel like that might have been what it was, and then, like, but, like, and then I think, and then later on in the comics, and I think this is probably going to happen as well, like,
Don't spoil. I don't want to know.
But she basically like.
I don't want to know. It's fine. We'll save it.
Well,
Okay, but so then there's a little juxtaposition with that kind of like interest,
a bit.
and then him with the interest to Nada. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess,
and building bridges or smoothing over problems. And I guess with that whole thing with Fairy, and as Nuala was saying, is that he was masterful in healing that rift.
Sure.
Not so much with Nada. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just came to me right now. That is, because that one, anyways. So there's that.
And like, honestly, I feel like kind of almost like a similar-ish thing happened with like with him and Hob, like when they had that argument in the last season.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I don't need friends." I'm like, I'm Dream of the Endless. I don't need friends. And that type of thing. But it wasn't really him per se to kind of mend that. It was more Hob being like, "Okay, okay." Yeah.
All right. So there's that, and then this whole thing with Lucifer at the end and Dream and being out on the beach.
Oh, I wish I had thought of that.
I wish I had thought of that. That would have been so simple, like, and I like that, and I like what she said. Like I actually had to look. There's like you can find things on the internet that have the whole script listed down.
Sure.
I looked at it's like so I got the quote because I was like, oh, well, that's foreshadowing. Even though I don't know what's gonna happen, I kind of know what's gonna happen.
Side note with that scene. He looks like Dream just looks so awkward just sitting on the bench thing. Like you can tell he clearly because he said like earlier like when like Lucifer asked like, oh, are you scared of me? And he was like, yeah. I feel like he still is a little bit like
scared
probably a little bit,
scared of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the quote was, if I can begin again, perhaps you can too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. 100%,
So we're gonna have that happen. I'm pretty sure. And then I also said, I already said this, it's not a good idea to have Puck and Loki running around.
No.
So I have a feeling that something's going to happen there.
Yes.
So, and anytime that a deal is being made with Loki, and you would think that you can't make a deal with that person, him, her, whatever. No, it's Loki.
No.
But I think in a way maybe Dream had to, because someone was being imprisoned that shouldn't be there. Yes, so somehow he has to bring that person who's not supposed to be there.
I just feel like a lot of, in retrospect, I feel like a lot of things could have been avoided if you could just been like, I don't care what you want. Sure, you might have been my guest, but like,
Yeah, but again, that's being the stickler for the rules.
Yeah, of course. Like,
and then meanwhile, Nada was suffering for when he broke the rules.
Also, Odin was one of his guests. He should have he would have been within his rights to be like, hey, Odin, you forgot Loki.
Well, I don't think he knew when Odin left.
No, he did know. That's how he realized. That's how he realized that Loki was still in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I missed that. I thought that he managed to plan that ruse. Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's all I had.
Well, at least he figured it out. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. Do you have anything else?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. So now we have to watch the next few episodes. I guess it's going to be 3.
At least the next 3. Yes.
Okay, so we'll do another podcast when we realize that we finished another arc. So I guess the arc here was the whole thing with Lucifer Morningstar.
The whole thing with
that part, and
the hell and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that done. So I don't know what's going to happen next, because I don't know the thing.
No, I know what's going to happen.
So I mean, in a way, like I don't know which is better, not knowing, or
chronologically they did cut out.
They can't do everything.
They did cut out an entire arc, but that was because it was not really a dream-centric arc at all. And overall, it's not going to have a huge effect. So, like, yes and no, but depending on what other changes they make, it might not have a huge effect on it. But yeah, so they did cut out one arc. So like they skipped ahead straight to they're gonna skip ahead to the arc after this, but between this what's this one season? I don't like the episode names are a little bit confusing because I think the next arc is going to it would have I think it was actually titled The Season of the Mists, and I don't remember what this one was, but maybe I could be wrong.
See.
Anyway,
we will see, and we will get back to you with another podcast on that, right? Yeah. So whatever the next arc is. So
this one must be Season of Mists, and then there's another one, and then there's the one after, and I don't remember what the one after is, but they're skipping to the one after.
Okay.
After the one that they cut out.
So we'll
Anyway,
see. We'll see.
yeah.
So whatever it ends up being, so it's probably going to be 3 or maybe 4, depending on how it goes down.
I have a feeling that one of the ones in this arc is probably going to be my favorite.
Okay. Well,
based
we'll
on the
see.
episode titles.
But
And what I know.
as you know, like this last one was my favorite of the first 3 so far. So we'll get into that. And so then let's end this podcast.
Yeah.
And so again, we're finishing up Andor while we're doing this, so there's going to be some of that going on, and and then we'll have at least one, probably another 2 at least podcasts on Sandman. And if you haven't listened to the audio ones, or
probably going to be another
which you can find on both audio platforms and on YouTube, but without us on. Please check those out, and hopefully we'll get back to reviewing season 1 at some point. We will go back to it. But so for now, thank you for listening. If you got all the way to the end, thank you for listening. Please give us some comments. Anything else that you think that we should catch,
or something we missed,
please let us know. And other than that, we want to thank you as usual for being part of the Birds on Power Lines podcast.